Friends, so let's start learning today, and it's about your chapter 1, session 1, communication methods and types of communication. We have already studied this chapter in class 9 also, where we have learned what is communication. So we better know what is a communication. Communication means a process. It is a process, right, where a message or idea originates at the end of a person, sending it as a sender, and travels to the receiver via a communication channel. So the receiver decodes the received message and tells whether it has been understood properly, and that is called feedback, right? So this is all about your communication. What is this process actually is? Now the next term that we need to understand is elements of communication. What are the various elements of communication? Let's talk about that. Sender, then idea or a message. The idea is to be shared from the message. Using ideas, a message is formed, right? A message can be in the form of verbal cues like a speech, or can say a non-verbal cue like a body language or voice tone, or in a written form. So this is about idea and message. Now next we have encoding. Process, it is a process, right? A converting the ideas into a message. It could be in words, in symbols, voice tone, or a gesture. Now we have a communication channel, a carrier or a medium that transferred the message, right? It is a medium through which a message is transferred from sender to receiver. Now next we have receiver here. Who is a receiver? A person for whom the message is said to be intended, right? And he is the person who receives the message. Now next is decoding. It is again processing or interpreting your received message to get the idea shared by the sender. Then we have feedback. The purpose of communication is only complete, can say is complete only when the receiver has understood the message properly which you have sent. So these are the elements of communication. Now let's talk about methods of communication. What are the different ways by which we can communicate our ideas, our messages to the other person? First is face-to-face communication. So it could be, you can say it is an interpersonal communication where two people, they are sitting in front of each other and communicating. Simple. Now next we have letters or emails where the message is delivered in a specific written structure, right? Then we have posters or charts where the harnessing the power of pictures and image along with the text. Simple. Now we have meetings and seminars. This is again a method of communication wherein discussion among the group of people with the similar interests to be carried out, right? Now next we have print, analog and digital media. Here in this social media, or the message is conveyed through your phone calls, newsletters, newspapers, blogs. These are the different methods of communication. So we have discussed all. So we started with communication, the process, then elements of communication, and now it is methods of communication we have worked with. Now next we have what are the different types of communication. When you are communicating, what are the different ways by which we are communicating? This we have done, methods we have done. Now types. Verbal, non-verbal, written and visual. So these are four: verbal, non-verbal, written and visual. When we talk about verbal, that means you are communicating orally. Non-verbal, where you are using body language, gesture, tone, right? Written, when you are communicating, when you are via handwritten or printed information. And visual, where you are communicating via pictures, logos, posters, etc. So these are the different ways by which types of communication. Now, what are the different pros and cons of types of communication? When we talk about pros and cons, that means we are talking about the different advantages and disadvantages of using different types of communication. So let's talk about the first one, that is verbal. As we all know that verbal where mostly you interact with others through spoken words, where you speak something directly to the other person. So what are the advantages? You are being straightforward in expressing the feelings, right? Then you are communication is mostly interactive, where you are getting response the same moment. It is a speedy form of communication, right? Now next you have instant feedback you get. Now next we have this helps in maintaining relationship as verbal communication along with the non-verbal communication, where you get a chance to have a good relationship professionally and personally with the other one, right? Next we have non-verbal communication. When we talk about non-verbal communication, that means pros of this communication is done. Now let's start with cons. Cons means the disadvantages. Now see, when we talk about the verbal communication, there it is not possible to represent things officially. It is not a complete form of communication. It requires proximity, means the sender and the receiver must be at the same place, same time to communicate. Clear? And it is not possible to communicate to people in a different setup. So these are the cons of the communication. There are emotional barriers also. Speaker has to speak about something refreshing while he may be feeling super tired. So these are the different disadvantages or limitations of verbal communication. Now let's talk about non-verbal communication, where you are communicating through body language, gestures, voice tone, right? So it is really easy to demonstrate. If I say this, what is this? This means you are saying it's done. So it's easy speaking the complete sentence or using 4 or 5 words or using a complete sentence of 10 words. It's better to show a gesture which can be easily understood by the other person. Easy to demonstrate, useful for conveying message, no language barrier, because you are using your body language, you are using your gestures. So there is no language barrier as such, and it is very fast. What are the cons? Cons means what are the disadvantages? Not suitable for a lengthy message. You cannot convey your lengthy message through non-verbal gestures. Incomplete form of communication, again, chances of misinterpretation. It may happen. Regional and cultural differences, yet it's there, right? So it may be completely misinterpreted if the person is not from the same background. So it is something where you need to be cautious. So these are some limitations of non-verbal communication. Now let's talk about visual communication. When you talk about visual communication, it reinforces other forms of communication. Very true. Where your communication it supports your communication. This visual communication, it supports suppose you are defining your concept, you are explaining your concept to the other people, and there is a need of some charts or some models to express your idea better. So this type of communication will help you a lot. It can explain things in the way which are not possible through words. This only I was telling earlier. It clears the barriers of qualification or language. So it can be like if I say this kind of communication where you are just making a chart, making a if you want to show the growth of your company, you can show it with the help of this easily, with the help of this bar graph, or can say a line chart, whatever you say. So it will help you a lot. Now what are the cons of this? It is comparatively expensive, very expensive, right? You need some tools for that. Require specified storing. If you are making a banner for expressing your things, you need to keep it. You have to make it, you have to put some cost for that. Then you have to keep it for storage, keep it somewhere, again a storage cost. Now time consuming, it is time consuming, where preparation of visual aids consumes time. Clear? Not a complete form of communication. It is not a complete form of communication. Again, you need a support of other three. Now next is your written communication. When we talk about written communication, it means you are sharing information in written form. So first, the pros are, means your advantages: permanent storage, stands a legal holding account, or you can say accountability, means the person who is receiving the message in written form will be accountable for, or who is sending the message, they both are accountable for the task they have to perform. It facilitates reuse, mass circulation possible. You can frame one message and send it to many at the same time, using, the best example is email or a WhatsApp message. It can be sent to 5 people at the same time, and if I talk about an email, you can send the same mail to many people at the same time. It conveys sincerity, yes. The written pamphlets, posters, they help build the image of a positive of a company, can say, and a goodwill of the company, right? Identical means they, when duplicated or produced in bulk, maintained identity. All its copies are identical. So this is all about your pros. Now cons, it is costly, time consuming, a barrier of qualification and language is there. Yes. If you are writing something and it is not, understood by the receiver, then it's of no use. Both of you are at the same language ground, and it is basic requirement of a written communication. Cost on storage, yes, it is there. Clear? So this is all about pros and cons of types of communication. Now let's talk about your verbal. Communication forms. What are the different ways? Means examples we are talking about. So it is there in your verbal or oral communication: meeting, teleconference, video conference, telephonic talks, public speaking, podcast, discussions. These days podcasts are very much in picture now. So now next we have visual, logos, signboards, signals, charts, images. These all are the different ways by which you can communicate through visual communication. Non-verbal, facial expressions, tone of voice, your body language, gestures, proximity, mood, hand movement, enthusiasm. These are non-verbal. Now written, letter, email, articles, magazine, report, notices, media, these legal documents. These are the different examples of different types of communications. Now the last topic, impact of body language. It really matters. If you are presenting something and if you are communicating your ideas to someone else, body language plays a vital role. So there are different things you need to consider while conveying or while using your body language, while sharing your data, sharing your information. Greet and settle down calmly. Use appropriate hand gestures. Occasionally, eye contact is very much required. Come and go with enthusiasm. When you come in the area where you want to convey something, and when you go from there, should be enthusiasm should be there. Sit with a straight spine. Greet others with a smile. Offer a firm but gentle handshake. So these are do's of body language. Now don'ts of body language are: don't keep your hands in your pocket while talking. Don't look away while in conversation. Just straight away look to the eye of the person who is standing in front of you. Do not touch your face repeatedly. Do not droop your shoulders. Do not slouch. And don't fold your arms over your chest. So these are some don'ts of your body language. Here your session first is finished. I hope you have enjoyed the session. There are some MCQs in your book, in your back exercise. Can solve it. And if you still find any doubt in any question, please text me and I'll surely solve your problems. Right? So this is all about session 1 only. I hope it will help you a lot. Okay, children, take care. All the best. Thank you.